50 years ago, NBC aired a new episode of the classic Star Trek show, this time called Errand of Mercy. These are my honest opinions about it. This episode begins with a bang. A Klingon ship suddenly attacks the Enterprise with magnetic pulses. The Enterprise destroys the ship, but they know they are in big trouble. Uhura receives a Code 1 alert from Starfleet. War with the Klingons has begun, and the Enterprise is sent to the planet Organia. Organia is a Class M planet inhabited by primitive but friendly humanoids, but it has a strategic location. Kirk has the orders to get the Organians on the side of the Federation before the Klingons take it over and make it a base of operations against the Federation. When they beam down, they find themselves in a nice medieval village, complete with a stack shot of a castle and green goats. They are welcomed by Aelborn, who acts like their leader. He, as a chairman of the Council of Elders, brings them to the council chambers, where Kirk tries to persuade them to let them help them and defend them. The Organians, however, seem not to understand or ignore the situation, because the only thing they do is smile and repeat that they don't need any help, because they are in no danger. The Klingon invasion starts while Kirk and Spock are on the planet. They have no chance to get safely to the ship, so the Organians need to save them. Kirk becomes Baroner, an Organian citizen, while Spock becomes a Vulcan merchant. And then we get introduced to the best part of this episode, the Klingon Commander Kor, played by the one and only John Colicos. Kirk, as Baroner, is forced to work for Kor, because he was the only one who did not smile and did not behave like a sheep. Spock is examined by the Klingon mind sifter, but fortunately for us, he manages to survive it, thanks to his Vulcan training, but warns Kirk that he himself might not survive the mind scan. That's why he has to calm Kirk down. This is one of my biggest problems with this episode. Kirk is way too militaristic and way too aggressive, that he's basically out of character. I think we can definitely blame it on Gene Coon. He wrote this very early in his Star Trek career, when he didn't know the characters that much. But it's a pity that Roddenberry didn't catch this and rewrite it. Anyway, Kirk and Spock blow up the Klingon munition, but when they admit it to the Organians, instead of gratitude, the Organians are disgusted by the violence. Unfortunately for our heroes, Kor is listening. He gets them arrested and threatens to use the mind sifter to find out who Baroner really is. Aelborn hates the idea that Kirk should get tortured and quickly tells Kor who the prisoners really are. Kor wants from Kirk all the Federation secrets, or else he will get them from his mind violently, using their mind sifter. He, for some reason, has 12 hours to think about it. Why do bad guys in movies always keep doing this? They're just giving the good guys time to escape. And that's exactly what happens. The door on their cell suddenly opens, and Aelborn takes them out. Kirk doesn't trust him. First he betrayed them, and now he's helping them. From Kirk's point of view, that makes no sense at all. And what happened to the guards? When Kor realizes the prisoners are gone, his troops start to kill 200 Organian civilians each hour until the prisoners are returned to them. Even though the council members hear it, they behave like nothing happened, and they keep on smiling. But when Kirk starts a suicide assault on Kirk's stronghold, the Organians suddenly decide to interfere. As soon as the boss fight, the final confrontation between the heroes and the villains is about to start, everybody suddenly realizes that both their weapons and their bodies are too hot, meaning their temperature is way too high, so they can't fight. The same happens on their starships and on their home planets. When they start to ask what is going on, two of the council members appear and explain it. The Organians are actually non-corporeal. The Organians are actually pure energy creatures. They take humanoid form only to please their visitors, and they have just stopped the war between the Federation and the Klingon Empire using their special powers. They turn into balls of light, and both our heroes and the Klingons leave the planet. There is a nice ending on the bridge where embarrassed Kirk admits that he was mad at the Organians for ending the war he didn't want. Well, what to say about this episode? Did I like it? Yes, but Star Trek, at least the original series, always provided commentary on the current situation. Not only the current situation in America, but in the whole world. We get episodes about racism, about the Vietnam War, about drugs and hippies, a couple of Don't Judge the Book by its Cover episodes, and now we have an episode about the Cold War. You don't have to be a genius to understand that the Federation is the USA and their allies, and that the Klingon Empire is a metaphor for the Soviet Union. It also deals with prejudice and has the Don't Judge the Book by its Cover moment. Everybody thought the Organians are primitives, but they are actually much more advanced than anybody could imagine. I love the way how Kor is portrayed. With a worse actor, director, or writer, he could easily become a kind of a Power Rangers villain, but he's actually a very interesting person. He's doing this not because he likes war and violence, but because it's his duty, and his honor demands to fulfill his duties. He's a governor of a whole planet, but he hates the fact that he's a ruler of sheep. He admires Kirk, he wants to kill him, but not like that, he wants to kill him in an honorable battle. You can even see he hates the idea of killing the civilians, but he both doesn't want to appear weak in front of his man, and he must do his duty. He even tells Kirk that both the Soviet Union and the USA, the Federation and the Klingon Empire are very similar. If they didn't have different political opinions, they could be friends. That's a clear message to the real-world politicians. I really like Kor, and I'm glad they brought him back decades later for Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But what I don't like is Kirk. He's way too aggressive, way too war-hungry. Some parts of the story look way too familiar, where you can't stop thinking, haven't I seen this before? Another problem I have is the fact that many things are told to us and not shown to us. For example, we are told that the Klingons are attacking the Enterprise. We are told that the Klingons are invading Organia, and we are told about the Mind Sifter. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to actually see these things happening? Well, I can't really complain too much about it. I'm pretty sure they would show these things to us if they had the money for more special effects, more extras, and more new devices. The interesting thing is that this is the first time we see the Klingons, and the episode actually contains a minor spoiler. The Organians inform Kor and Kirk that the Federation and the Klingons will be friends in the future, which of course did happen in Star Trek The Next Generation. They were allies. Overall, I would give this episode 8 out of 10. It has its problems, but it's overall highly enjoyable. It has enough heart and an important anti-war message, and it introduced us to the Klingons, so how could I complain? Anyway, these were just my opinions about this episode. What do you think about it? Feel free to write down your opinions down in the comment section. And if you like this type of videos, I'm doing a quick thoughts on video exactly 50 years after the premiere of the episode. Check the previous episodes or any other video on my channel, and see you next week when I do my video about the alternative factor. An episode which is usually considered to be the worst of the first season. What do I think? You'll find out next week. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time. Bye.